Vikings. Just hearing the name conjures up images of fierce warriors, long ships, and epic raids. But who were the Vikings really? Where did they come from, and how did they leave such a lasting mark on history? Today, we're going to take you on a journey through time, back to the 8th century, to explore the origins of the Vikings, their incredible expansion across the globe, and the legacy they left behind. The Vikings, a name that strikes fear and fascination into the hearts of many. But who were they really? These fierce seafarers hailed from Scandinavia, lands of icy fjords, towering mountains, and dense forests. The Vikings were more than just raiders. They were traders, explorers, and settlers who shaped the world around them. Their ships, long and sleek, could navigate both calm rivers and treacherous seas, allowing them to explore distant lands. But it wasn't just the open waters that made the Vikings who they were. It was their ability to build a strong, tight-knit society, capable of surviving harsh winters and conquering new lands. Long before they became notorious warriors, the Vikings were part of ancient Scandinavian tribes. Their world was one of survival, hunting in dense forests, fishing in cold waters, and building settlements that could withstand the harshest conditions. Over time, these tribes became expert shipbuilders, creating longships that could cut through the water with ease. It was the invention of these ships that unlocked their destiny as seafarers, taking them from the coasts of Scandinavia to distant lands. The Viking people didn't just raid, they also explored, traded, and forged connections with faraway lands. From their homeland in Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, they sailed as far as Ireland, England, France, and even North America. The Viking Age began with a brutal and shocking event, the raid on Lindisfarne in 793 AD. A peaceful, holy site on the northeast coast of England, Lindisfarne was attacked by Viking warriors in one of the most notorious raids in history. For centuries, Christian monks had lived in peace on the island, creating illuminated manuscripts and praying in silence. But the Vikings brought violence, fire, and chaos. They destroyed the monastery, looted its treasures, and left with an unmistakable message. The Vikings were here, and they were unstoppable. This raid marked the beginning of the Viking Age, a time when these skilled warriors would strike fear into the hearts of European kingdoms. But the Vikings weren't just invaders. They would go on to change the face of Europe forever. As the Viking Age progressed, the raids grew larger and more organized. Viking armies began to form, led by powerful chieftains. These were not just marauders, they were conquerors, bringing entire kingdoms to their knees. From the shores of England to the heart of France, Vikings carved out territories. In England, the Viking Great Army invaded in 865 AD, overwhelming Anglo-Saxon defenses. The Vikings didn't just raid, they settled, created new kingdoms, and left their mark on the land. One of the most famous Viking conquests was the establishment of the Danelaw in England. Vikings, led by the infamous Ragnar Lothbrok and his sons, ruled large parts of England, introducing their culture, language, and customs to the local population. But it wasn't just about power and conquest. The Vikings were also skilled traders and craftsmen, establishing trade routes that stretched across Europe, from the British Isles to the Byzantine Empire and even the Arab world. While Vikings are most commonly associated with raids in Europe, their reach extended far beyond the shores of the Old World. One of the most remarkable explorers was Leif Erikson, who set sail from Greenland to find new lands across the Atlantic. In the early 11th century, Erikson and his crew discovered North America, what they called Vinland. They set up small settlements in what is now Newfoundland, Canada, becoming the first known Europeans to set foot on North American soil, nearly 500 years before Christopher Columbus. The Vikings didn't just stop there. They sailed along the coasts of modern-day France, Italy, and even as far as the Middle East, leaving traces of their influence in the lands they touched. But as the centuries passed, the Viking Age began to wane. New kingdoms, stronger defenses, and the rise of Christianity pushed back against their invasions. Yet, the legacy of the Vikings would never be erased. Their stories, their settlements, and their impact on world history endure to this day. The Viking legacy is all around us today. In language, place names, and even in our popular culture, the Vikings have left an indelible mark. Many English words, like berserk, ski, and window, are derived from Old Norse, the language of the Vikings. In the United Kingdom, towns and cities like York, Dublin, and Normandy bear the imprint of Viking settlers. In Iceland, the Viking spirit remains alive in its language, literature, and customs. And of course, the famous Viking sagas continue to captivate audiences worldwide. In popular culture, the Vikings are depicted as fierce warriors, unstoppable explorers, and legendary heroes. From the TV series Vikings to films about Thor and Odin, the Vikings remain a source of fascination and inspiration. Yet, their true story, one of survival, exploration, and cultural exchange, remains just as fascinating today. The Vikings were not just raiders, they were builders, traders, and adventurers who left a lasting impact on the world. Thanks for joining us on this journey through Viking history. From their first raids to their far-reaching voyages, the Vikings changed the world in ways we're still discovering today. If you enjoyed this dive into Viking history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What part of Viking history fascinates you the most? We'd love to hear from you.